let's think of the stars and imagine ourselves to be just like them. They are so beautiful in the sky, and they sparkle and shine. They are so quiet and peaceful. Be very still. Relax your toes and legs. Relax your stomach and your shoulders. Relax your arms and your face. You feel safe, and a soft light of peace surrounds you. Inside, you are like a beautiful little star. You are lovable and capable. You are who you are. The Respect Star says, each person brings special qualities to the world.
Where would we be, oh lovers of Him, oh seekers of truth, without you? Your honesty guides us, commitment inspires us. We tread in your footsteps and follow you. Only one has your heart, gifted a noble part. We surf on the waves of your love. No judgment, no blame, aware of our aim. You help us regain what we've lost. You treat us with honor, and just like a mother, protect and encircle our innocence. Only one has your heart, gifted a noble part. We surf on the waves of your love. Your face to the light, reflecting His might, but always humility. And through your connection, gentle suggestion to see past our weakness and love who we are. Only one has your heart, gifted a noble part. We surf on the waves of your love. Invisible strength, felt but not seen. Through your loving eyes, His light shines. His constant companion, passion. He's from the ocean, reaches the world. Only one has your heart, gifted a noble part. We surf on the waves of your love. Only one has your heart, gifted a noble part. We surf on the waves of your love.
Om Shanti, everyone.
Om Shanti.
Thank you for joining us tonight on another lovely Monday Insight session. We're here with our dear brother, Brother Mahendra, who I feel does not need a big introduction. We introduced him a million times. But for those who are now joining us and haven't seen his face, Brother Mahendra has 25 years of Raj Yoga meditation experience. And he's just, his journey, just reminds us that spirituality is not separate from our everyday life. So he's bringing together his experiences from his professional world and also the understanding gained through his 25 years of Raj Yoga practice. And tonight we are exploring the journey of being authentic. And I think it's a very important topic, especially in the world today, which wants us to fit in and meet expectations and present ourselves in the way society wants us to present ourselves. So we're going to take a deep dive into staying authentic and understanding who we really are beyond society's identity of us. So welcome. Go ahead.
Thank you, Sister Alyssa. And welcome all of you here too, on behalf of myself and also on behalf of the center. And those who are on Zoom, thank you for joining and welcome. And like Sister Alyssa did in our introduction, truly in this world we try to fit in. But one of the things we certainly have to look at, and it's not a word I would like to use too often, but fake, inauthentic. Everything in this world is false. Starting with our belief systems or so many, well, I don't want to go into details about that. But even if you look at even down to our bodies now, everything is so fake, so false. And I can give examples. You have false nails, false eyelashes, false hair, false eyes, false body parts, false teeth. Certainly false teeth.
False teeth.
You have yes, some of it, of course, is beneficial, but it goes to show you how falsehood has taken over this world.
It is bad. But
Where do we start to remove that falsehood? Because it has become ingrained in us, in society, to follow certain patterns. And if we don't, we are considered abnormal rather than normal. The things that, in my case, when in my youth, growing up as a child, What we thought was normal is now considered abnormal. And what is abnormal, what we would have considered abnormal in those days are now considered to be normal. Likewise, falsehood and fake, you could have seen through that easily, but now it's part of our system. If you don't partake, if you don't do the things our society is telling us to do, you're seen as like an outcast, abnormal. I don't know if anyone wants to share what else. False identity. We change names, especially with Guyanese. Before we used to travel abroad to get to the United States of America, we used to assume a different identity, and that identity just to enter the US. False documents to support something legitimate. So it has gone beyond not just the body alone, but the entire society has become inauthentic, false, fake. How do we start to move away from that? But before we go into that, the moment we enter this world, any individual, we were trained to adopt certain ways depending on where you are, in which country, which society. We grew up with different customs, belief systems, clans, and all these things are a reflection of falsehood, because we have to adopt these principles that these particular groups set out for us. And if we don't follow, we are seen as, abnormal, but among other terms, ignorant and stupid. I don't really like using all these words, but that's a reflection of our society now. If we don't follow the patterns in the groupings or certain family structures, society structures, but deep down inside, as we grew up and we expand our minds, we can see through these things, but society determines that these are the patterns that you have to follow. These are the rules, the regulations which you have to follow. Although at the back of your mind, it's not the right thing. So the whole world now is set on these principles. And very few people you'll find will try to step away, try to be authentic, knowing that this is not the right thing. I don't know if anyone wants to share at this point. Anything about falsehood or being inauthentic?
I was just thinking about like the different truths, because based on where you grew up, location, they would have different truths. So based on our lives, right, in the Western world, we would have grown up with different idea of what authenticity is, and then in the East, they would grow up with different ideas of how they share their customs, what their truths are. But with globalization, right, and everybody seeing experiencing each other's cultures, then we kind of get this back and forth of my ways,
or your way.
my ways is better, or this is how it should be. So now your truth and their truth are now at logger's head.
Yes.
Right? So, and where was I going with this? But we have like, but with globalization, seeing each other's truths, we're able to see the actual authentic self, like beyond culture and race and time and place and circumstance. Human beings down to their, their most innate selves are the same based on, your inner qualities, right? Rather than if we look at cultures and all these things and the way that we brought up, geography and these things, time, place, circumstance, then we have different truths. But as time goes by, we're able to see that individual, like together, we have so much similarities, but the world focuses so much on our differences and our differences in each other's ideas of what truth is. So I think you're going to go into more of what maybe our absolute truth or most authentic selves look like. So I'm not going to go further with that, but if anybody else has anything to share on that, feel free.
Om
So one of the
Shanti.
things too is that with set cultures, you have the Eastern culture and the Western culture. And I know Eastern culture, especially in the Asian countries, they focus a lot on religion and belief systems, but in the Western, it's more open. And so even in the West, when you grow up along Eastern cultures and belief systems, now you have to fit into society, you become influenced. And so to fit in, you have to adapt. Sometimes it goes against your grain of truth or what your belief. And so, but just to adapt yourself into Western culture or whatever is happening in your society in the West, it may not be the right thing, but because you want to fit in. And so the influence of society has a lot to do with our state of being authentic. Sister Kinnery, of course, is from Eastern culture. I don't know how much you would have had to adapt because you would have come to US. And I know that in India, of course, it's now open because of globalization. You have a fair idea what goes on in the West, but you still see the tendency of the Eastern culture and the Western culture, the clashes, as you were saying, the difference in them. And some of us still want to hold on to those things, but because we have to fit in society, we move away from them so we can look good. And so that's where our authenticity goes away because we want to look good or we want to fit in.
Couple of thoughts. One is, as you are growing up, many times you ask questions. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? And it is shunned off. It's like you're just supposed to just do this, right? And many times the person grows up, you just have to do what was said to do. There is a point where, if you're awake, and where the inner voice, is really trying to understand the conscience, is understanding why am I doing whatever I'm doing, whether it's the way to dress, whether it's the way to speak, whatever act you're doing, it has to resonate with the inner conscience. So I think there's definitely an influence or biases which comes along, but one has to be really listen to that inner voice of conscience. And then when you use the topic of being authentic, Really authentic is, am I aligned with my inner conscience? And not just because they said or was told me to do and I'm doing it. One is rituals and very mundane, but it also extends to my own principles in life. Yesterday we were listening to the conversation, right? And where Brother Banu was sharing, he had this principle that he would not eat. And he was in this elite group of people in this hotel. And once you're aligned with your and connected with your conscience to your truth, everyone will mold the drama, the time, everything will revolve. But I just need to be strong enough and authentic in my own principle. That is also still mundane, but when it comes to honesty, being truthful, being, people cheat so much these days. All of those things.
That's the norm. And
It's
it's a
norm to
yeah.
have, what do you?
It seems to be normal. That's what I'm saying. The
Normalized.
normal in society to do those things. And what you just shared there, I'm just thinking it's a very small percentage of people will actually have that conscious self, that your conscience, this goes against the grain of your consciousness and my belief, or I should not be doing this. Very few people will think along that line. They just fall in immediately and forget. This is the group I'm with. I have to be with them. I will do what they say or what they do.
Maybe it is easy perks, no? Like easy money or easy
Yeah.
fame or anything which comes very just easily.
Recognition also.
Yes,
You want to be
acknowledgement,
acknowledged. You want to be recognized.
promotion, whatever it is. Easy perks. They would always say, right, the road of truth, the boat will rock or it's going to be tough, but you will stay stable. The shortcuts may be short, but you don't know what the future holds. When people steal, all that comes into
They
the
steal honestly, you can put it that way. They find methods not to get caught, and they know it's dishonest, but it's normal. Yes,
Om
Brother
Shanti.
Terry, go ahead.
Greetings, my brother. Very good evening, all the family, my brothers. And a very good evening to you. Pleasure. Now, I would like to look at a practical example. I worked on a ship where the chief engineer submitted his documents that were all false. I had to go to Madhuban, and there was a problem because my name is of a Christian background. And when asked what is my religious belief, I explained I'm with the organization of the Brahma Kumaris World Spiritual University, and our religion is peace. But how do I fit in there? Well, you don't have a Hindu name, and they don't have that on the list. Only have Hindus, Christians, and what the other different things. So I had to go to Madhuban under the profile of a Christian, or else I couldn't get the visa to go. Now, many people secure jobs, and the documents that they submit are made. They haven't even had the opportunity of many. I've had the experience of witnessing it in the presence. Documents were made. In the past, many years ago, I knew of guys who were able to get visas with false documents. Now, Humanity has a lot of things in their makeup, such as courage, and also their awareness varies. Some people are not aware that they're doing anything that is false, and they have the feeling and awareness that they're doing the right thing. Others have the courage to make false documents to get their aims and objectives achieved. I've seen that, I've witnessed it with my own eyes. Now, if we look at a global scale, then we have to see many laws were put into being so as to make the population what you would call into doing something wrong in order to achieve revenue. All over the world, even if you go and deal with shipping, documents are made, arrangements are made. There's many, I know, I've experienced it, are false. So, falsehood, before we go on a global scale, it has to do with the level of the personality. And you started it nice, very much so, because the personality gets kind of a feeling that they're doing the right thing when they have false whatever on their bodies. But many are not even aware that they're in a state of falsehood, and they have the full convictions that they're doing the right thing. The world right now is showing the results of those things because everyone is fighting up now. Are they fighting for the right? Or they're fighting because the things that they have done were wrong? So truth is truth. There's no proof. Truth is always truth. They have levels of truth is truth. But what we have to understand within ourselves, in order to know and experience the truth, we have to feel the truth. On an impulsive level, the first feeling of truth is what. And when we get to understand what is truth, then we start bringing ourselves into a higher state of consciousness. And we are able to follow disciplines which deal with truth. So that's a very, very tickling, or I wouldn't say ticklish, but tickling subject that we're on. And I might be trying to express myself. If someone feels, well, I'm false, not authentic, whatever, well, that's their understanding of how they see their truth. But truth is truth. So I do know that you have all submitted some very, very, very tickling ideas in discussing this matter. And surely, let me leave some space for others to share their ideas, because thank you. Good
Om
evening
Shanti.
again. Om Shanti.
Good morning. Good evening to everyone. If I to look at one global figure as a role model, I would look at Mahatma Gandhi. Thank you very much.
Shanti. Good night, everyone. So I'd just like to add on the topic. Being authentic. Like, what comes to mind when you listen to the word? It's like being original, one of a kind, They always say is there's only one you in the whole world. Also, it's all about, everybody grew up different, different background and what's not. But at the end of the day, we all carry the same morals, And for me, it's being different. It's like not trying to fit in the crowd. It's trying to be yourself and be comfortable in your own skin. So when I hear the word authentic, that comes to mind. Being able to express yourself regardless of the world criticizing you out there. Being comfortable of hearing, the criticism. And for me, that shows the greatest self-respect and self-love. We heard the term, we heard the word, people say it over and over again, but what does it really means to be authentic? What does it means to show that authenticness,
Authenticity.
the authenticity, thank you. Sometimes maybe we going at work, probably walking along the street, we might see people, in the same group doing the same things, and then all of a sudden we find ourselves thinking, no, it's not okay to do depending on what they're doing, huh? Yeah. But being different, it's good. Even if you're alone sometimes, you're not technically alone because you get God with you. You talk to him every day, but it all comes down to you, on what you believe, on your morals, and if you have that deep self-respect, the deep self-love, the determination, the discipline, to hold your standards even when the world is against it. For me, that is the true power of being authentic.
I think going off of Millie, you said that, doing the same thing, even though you have 5, 6 people or 1,000 people doing the same thing, we all experience the world differently. There's a feeling inside. We could look at the same picture and have 1,000 different, expressions or feelings towards this, and that's our uniqueness. And I mean, like, differences shouldn't be scolded or looked what's my word? Right. It shouldn't, it's good to have differences. We have many similarities, but differences are also part of our authenticity because we experience and feel the world so different from each other. Even if you can see it, if it with kids grow up in the same family, same household, different things, and you have 11 different kids with 11 different personalities, and they experience 11 different versions of your two parents. They're not, your two parents are not exactly the same person to each one of you. So this also is, your authenticity, that feeling, the way that you experience the world is different on these. But yeah, that's it.
No, she just remind me of something like the different views with abstract painting. You have a painting and you have to interpret it. So we can look at life in an abstract way too. the different perceptions, different the way we view. But one of the things I think the reason for us to be to move away from our authenticity is because we set agendas. And it starts very early in our life. We set agendas, and those agendas are set with our interactions and our relationships. And sometimes they go into the extreme. One of the things why we set agendas is to protect what we have. It might be a position, it might be our wealth, it might be relationships, and we go all out to protect them. And so because of that, and there are very many reasons for that. One, of course, like with jobs and money and wealth, it's for security reasons, to take care of yourself financially. The other thing, of course, with climbing the ladder of success, because you want to be ambitious, so you want to go ahead. Not only do you want to go ahead, you want to be ahead of everyone because you want to be standout. And sometimes we don't care about who we trample on or what we do to reach that position. And so definitely we lose our inner consciousness or authenticity to reach that state because we just have one aim. But then what happens? You can create stress, so much stress in those, whether it's a relationship or whatever the case may be. One of them is because there's a fear of loss of your wealth, loss of your position, loss of your job. Position, I mean possession and position, both. That there will be sadness in terms of what you had and you have lost. And that will be followed, of course, by anger because you want to blame someone. So you take out your anger on them or something you take your anger out on. And so to return back to the state of authenticity, we have to remove that agenda. That's the first step. And this might sound a little strange, but the first thought we should create is that I am no one. The minute you create the thought that I am no one, you become free, totally free. You have no feelings of obligation to serve or to follow patterns. And that's the first step of returning to your authentic self. I am no one. I have nothing. I have nothing. I don't know how this one will fit it. I am not going anywhere. Are the three things. You want to share something? Yeah.
I want you to go deeper into what you mean by I am no one, because that could be interpreted in many ways, especially with if somebody with self-esteem or things to say I am no one is something that they probably have been thinking all along. So if you can delve more into what you mean by I am no one, that would be nice.
That was one comment. And the second was being authentic before towards others or things or situation. I think it starts with my own self. Am I being authentic with myself? And so that should be my starting point. How honest and true am I with my own self?
Well, one of the reasons why I started with I am no one is because you have to remove all the baggages that you would have, that you're not committed to the so many aspects that you have to adhere to in society. And so that's when you have that feeling that, well, this is actually going into spirituality, that I am a spiritual being, I am a soul, and this is what I really am. The desire to be somebody other than who you are. That is what I mean when you try to be no one. When you have the desire to be somebody. You aspire to be somebody. There's no doubt that you have aims in your life to achieve. But when you have to use the wrong methods and lose you just mentioned your honesty and truth to achieve that position, you lose your authenticity. And these things eventually can they can create emotional disturbances because you can become lost to find out who you really are. Who am I really? And the other part about I have nothing is when you hold on to possessions, not position, it's a possession, because position deals with I'm no one. Possessions, when you hold on, there's going to be a day when you will have to let go of everything. And those things are the things that cloud your thought pattern of being authentic, of being honest, of being true, because you have reached a certain level and you want to acquire more. You want more possession. You want to have more than you have. Again, there is nothing wrong, but is it being done the right way? So that's the first thing. And so you have to free yourself from that agenda that you set out. You're about to say something? Okay.
Brother Mahendra,
Yes, I know this is a bit conflicting, so I expect
if I may.
comment. Mhm.
Yeah, it's a little bit tricky to, I guess, give a perspective that fits everybody else's perspective. Of course, we'll be seeing things through our own lenses. But I think authenticity is lost because we misidentified. So misidentified in the sense that I think I started to think of myself as a thing. And so the minute I did that, I need protection, I need survival, I need to get by, and all of these things. And that's because I started to think of myself as something that can finish, or something that can end, or something that can be killed, something that somebody can break. And so because of the circumstance, I think this is how we started to conform to all of these other things, I live in a country where circumstances are the worst. So I had to migrate, and so I conform to somebody else's identity to get out of the country. This example was shared. Or I'm going to school and I'm a teenager and all the boys are drinking alcohol and having a good time. And so I submit to peer pressure. And so because of this misidentification and this need to feel that I need to belong, because if I don't, then I don't know, people wouldn't like me, or I'll be an outcast in society, or they'll throw me out of this friend circle or something like that. Then we compromise our values, our beliefs, our integrity, and all of these other things. And when we do it, there is a voice inside, and as Sister Kinry was mentioning, the inner conscience, you feel that this is off, or this is not right, or something of that sort. And again, it depends on your circumstance to realign you to what is true or what is real. And so, for lack of a better example, I may say, you came across the Brahmakumaris, you know, and that's a good situation or a good circumstance to be in. But then and then you may realign or you start to try to realign, but there are others who want to, but they don't have the right or proper circumstance. And there are others who just don't notice it because they've become so dead to themselves in that sense that all of these things that we were talking about that are normalized seems like the way of the world. But that has gone on for some time now. But things are again shifting, you know. There was a good time, then we had nothing, then we started to make all of these things and we started to become rich in that sense. But now all of that is, it's coming against us, it's going against us. We've extracted oil and gold and all these things from the earth, really messed with Mother Nature. Now she is backbiting at us. So, we are in a paradigm now, or we're in a shift now again, where circumstances are saying, wake up, or rather, circumstances are shaking us to wake up. And so, some of us might be half asleep. Some of us might be a little bit more awake than others. And so I think it's the perfect setup for, a new or a different movement. And I think this is where this is where all of this is heading, to reawake the inner self, the true self, the authentic self, and then ultimately that will have its ripple effects that we would all want. That's the most sense I could make of it. Thank you.
Okay.
Can I just go in off of Brother Vicky? I think there's misidentification, exploration, and then this lack of awareness. Because sometimes for you to know your authentic self, you have to explore. But with exploration, I know you spoke of peer pressure. That's a different thing. You go against your grain. But you go against your grain, and sometimes you're aware that you're going against the grain, but then sometimes you lack the awareness to
Chorus.
understand that your body is actually telling you no, but you don't actually follow it because you don't know the signals. But
But
so
we want to confirm
but with
with others.
exploration, you try things, to feel things, to experience things. So maybe going out with your friends was not peer pressure. Maybe you made that choice of saying, do I like that? And then you went out, you tried it, and then you said, no, I don't like that, but you followed that inner self. But a lot of times our society distracts us from that feeling. So we do things, but we're so distracted in a million things that we don't recognize our own signals, our own authentic self saying, but this isn't you. This is not what you like. And I find like the world is so full of distractions that we have no time to sit and actually think what it is that I like, what it is that I feel. And I find these little moments, these little insight sessions, these little time that we take to sit with ourselves, because the world is so chaotic, and that's why in silence we find ourselves, because it's just so much chaos. So yeah, I was just adding to Brother Vicky's take.
Yes, I agree with you. Go ahead. Yeah. No, I'm just thinking that thinking about the chaos, and we really need these periods of silence to really slow down so much. Although we would have learned the art of, even as in this organization, of silencing the mind, sometimes because of the chaos out there, you have to think and think so quickly and your thoughts race. And so you get caught up in situations. Takes a while to get back again.
I also want to add on, for me, it started at a young age, you know, when we came into this world, hey, we've been conditioned over and over. If it's sometimes at home, it's in the school system. Then when we leave school, you know, we get used to doing a certain routine that when we leave school and we go out to the world, it's something else. So, you know, we need to start at small, you know, and even though when we go out to the world, sometimes we may ask the older ones them, but they might not know the answer. And there is when we have to do self-discovery, you know, just sitting down, asking ourselves, you know, what is our passion? And from there, probably onwards, then we'll know more of ourselves. But at the set time, there's so many distractions. At the set time, they might call you the black sheep and all. I'm gonna be honest, they might call you the black sheep, they might call you the odd one, but you know, they say it's only who strong survives in the wild. So it's all about the mindset as well. So yeah, and I think now in this present generation, it moving very fast. You don't catch them. You know, you gotta fly up with their speed in order to get their attention. And they get this mindset, well, most that I know of, they get this mindset of being that 1%, of always like, you know, they want to get into the nice car, the money and wherever, you know, following up all those things and so on. But at the end of the day, what makes you truly happy? What makes you feel as your original self, you know? So it all comes down, you really need to sit down and reflect on it. And sometimes you could even be the example of showing them the path too. They may not say it out loud. Majority won't say it out loud. But the way you act, the way you behave, the way you speak, that's an example. Maybe they admire you because of the way you carry yourself. You don't, you know, stick around for foolishness and so on. So as we reflect on ourselves, we should reflect in such a way that when we go out in the world in the morning time and do our roles and do our duties, they also see the reason why we're part of this organization. They should, you know, Baba says, father shows son, son shows father. What does it really means? You know? So, yeah, just that I wanted to add.
I was just remembering an incident which happened with Dadi Janki. One of the sisters came for her own effort, and Dadi said, okay, do your Amrit Vela, do your Murli, standard. So she went, after 2 weeks, she came back, something like that. And she said to Dadi, Dadi, I'm doing my Amrit Vela, I'm doing my Murli, doing my evening meditation, I'm following everything. I still don't know why am I feeling like this. Gosh, where was I going with this? I'm paraphrasing, this is not exactly, but Dadi was telling her, check how you're doing or something of that sort, because the whole point was she was just doing it for like namesake. Like, yes, check, I've done Amrit Vela, check, I've done Murli, check, I've done traffic control. But again, coming back to that authenticity, even if it's a minute of traffic control, am I just sitting? I'm sitting because everybody is sitting. Or am I really connecting to my true authentic self, connecting to God? For every little, we're talking about outside and the BKs, but even within the BK, how authentic am I? How am I doing? Otherwise, it's just a label.
Yeah.
I'm still Kinnari and I've just added BK, but my sanskars, my perception, my doings are still the same. So I think how honest I am. That's why Dadi would say, Sachai Safai. How honest am I with my own self? At the end of the day, I need to show my face to myself and to God.
So, because this topic was chosen, I did some experiment also on things that I need to practice. And you would have mentioned one, the truth, and now you're talking about honesty. But what really is honesty? Am I really honest with myself? And this can extend beyond being honest with myself, which most of you would have contributed, including those on Zoom. Telling what needs to be told. This is my feeling, this is the way it should be done, and you're being honest with yourself and being honest with others, regardless of the outcome. So that should be the first step. Well, you recognize yourself, and you don't want to go against the grain, or then you don't want to go against your conscience. So you have to be honest with yourself to tell others the way you feel. And it must come from inside, of course. This is what I stand for. This is what it should be. The other thing is respect. Regardless of your position in society, what roles you're playing, what possessions you have to, you have regards and respect for everyone. You see each one as the roles that they're playing, and so you don't disregard them. Another one was to celebrate. What do you celebrate? Celebrate the achievement of others, and this celebration should come from inside, internally, that I'm genuinely happy that you have achieved this, that you're successful in whatever it is, whether it's a job, whether it's an examination, whether it's some material thing, completion of a house. You celebrate with joy, celebrate with happiness. You celebrate with happiness for that person. Encourage. You encourage others to grow. You don't put them down. Or you don't, not because you don't want them to go past you, because we would have discussed this earlier, but you encourage them to grow, to move ahead. Trust. Well, this is a little bit ticklish, trust, but you have to encourage that one, within yourself, to be trustworthy. Not you, well, you would be trustworthy, but extend that trustworthiness to others. It's like giving others a chance then. You don't put a block and say, because you might have been in a situation where you are somehow deceived, but you shouldn't allow that to be a blockage in your trust for others. I would have had something similar like that not so long ago, but I didn't allow it to cloud my vision. Temporary, yes, someone who was very close to me, and I have moved beyond it, because you cannot judge people because of the mistake of others. So trust, then you have to be open, very open to others, their views. As we said, everyone comes with their own ideas and perceptions. Who are we to judge that, they are wrong or even they are right? So you move beyond that. You're open to others, available to help others, because you might be the one who is in the position of being one with strength to assist and to help others grow. So you make yourself available, and genuinely available to, not, I'm just trying to help this one out because of the situation this one in. It must be genuine. Accepting, well, this would be the same as encouraging and being openness. You're accepting others' point of view without, putting them down. This is a tendency because I have a doctorate or I have an MBA, and this one is coming from the grassroots. He doesn't know, or he or she doesn't know anything. So we have to move away from that perception also. Cooperation. Again, you have to help people to move forward in whatever ways you become guides, you become helpful. It can be physical, it can be mental, it can be spiritual, in whatever ways. Patience. This might be a big one. How genuine are we with our patience with others? How patient are we with others? Sometimes we find people are very annoying because they know you're very helpful to them. So they come with the most minute or the most minor issues, which they can resolve themselves. What do you do then? They come to test your patience.
You set boundaries.
You set boundaries.
You set boundaries, yeah, because
With the patience?
so the thing about I find with humility and patience is that
Yeah.
it can go it can tip, because when you're
People tend
humble,
to override
something,
you.
yeah. So
Oh.
humility should never be that I bow down, and
Uh,
patience should never be that I allow myself to be abused. So it's important to set boundaries to maintain your authenticity.
yes, definitely. Because we all have limitations as human in any case, some form of limitation, because one of it might be the time factor. How long are we going to sit and listen or make ourselves available to someone who is continuously coming with the similar issue or the same issue? One other aspect is being proactive. We look for solutions, and solutions are not to look at problems. Okay, any comments on those? Those were some that I also had accepting, but that would have been in also been in opening, accepting others' point of view. Don't be self-opinionated. My opinion is what counts. My belief is what counts. My knowledge is what counts. I don't know if anyone wants to add anything to that.
I was gonna add courage.
Courage. Okay.
The courage to be
How courage?
the courage to be vulnerable.
The courage to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
You mean
Because
you are being vulnerable?
yeah, the courage to be vulnerable because it doesn't mean that because I'm coming from an authentic place, that's people will get it and they're gonna conform to my authenticity. Because I think what's coming out of all of this is also that your authenticity is your authenticity. And so, it's coming from your beliefs, your values, your self-awareness and all of these things. So the courage to be vulnerable and understand that, people may question or this kind of thing, but you still stick to what you stand for.
Yes. And so that's where acceptance also comes in.
Yeah.
Om Shanti, brother. Brother Vicky expressed the same thought because you see, courage is an important power that one should have in order to express honesty and in order to express truth. Because with courage, you have to face whatever reactions and take it same way as if you had no reactions. Now, balance is necessary when we're going to express authenticity, because if we do not experience many things that are inappropriate or probably not to our liking, or whatever, and we have to have the courage to face the backlash with the same balance as if we were, in our original state of consciousness, without reaction. And once authenticity could be expressed with a balance, that is, we remain detached. Whatever we have to take as reaction, we are the same way as when we're going to smile and open ourselves to show how authentic we are. So, balance is something that we can't have too much of one thing and less of something. If we didn't face what it was to be, what the word that you use, fake or unauthentic, then inauthentic, sorry, thank you. If we don't get ourselves in that situation, we will not be able to understand the authenticity or the values that we have to face in order to understand. Sometimes one may have an intellect to understand without facing and carry out. But as the brother said Sunday at class, Brahma Baba had to go through tremendous opposition. But he remained balanced. And that is the authenticity that he expressed. Because even his neighbor, who used to abuse him every day, he would introduce people to his most friendly neighbor. So I think we have to work on ourselves to balance ourselves in the give and take business. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Terry. And so I'll just wrap up now. There are some other aspects I would have liked to go into, but we don't have much time. Okay. But I want you to think of being authentic is like a garden of flowers. Flowers are always seen as being beautiful. So when you enter a garden of flowers, there is a variety of flowers. And each flower is different. The petals, the stems, the leaves, they're different. And each has a different aroma or fragrance. And so if you look at a garden of flowers, the rose doesn't try to be a hibiscus. The hibiscus doesn't try to be a jasmine. Each one stands out with their own identity. The rose is the rose, the hibiscus is hibiscus, the jasmine is the jasmine. And so what I like you, each one of you here to do is to cultivate your own garden. Your garden of virtues, because when we talk of aroma and fragrance, we eventually end up speaking about virtues. What is it that colors our life? What is it that gives out fragrance or an aroma? It's our virtues, what others are attracted to us, like how you're attracted to the flower. It's the colors, of course, and the colors, the aroma. And so the virtues that we emit, in terms of our vibration, that is what makes others attracted to us. How do we acquire those virtues? Ultimately, there's only one source, and that is God, the Supreme Soul, who can fill us with all those virtues. And so we will close tonight with that thought. Fill ourselves, because He's the ocean of virtues. He's the one whom you should be following, the one who should be coloring you, the one whom you should take the aroma or the fragrance from so that you can emit it. Of course, when you do that, there will be no attachment, there will be no vices, there will be no opinions. All the virtues will come up instead. So thank you for listening. We will close now with meditation. Sister, can you read any announcements?
Om Shanti. Thank you, Brother Mahendra. It was a very nice conversation for sure. One is next Wednesday, which is the 19th of August. We're having a very special yogi who's coming all the way from India, Asha Didi. She has been in Raj Yoga for more than 60 plus years and been practicing it. And she's in Guyana just for a day and a half. So we have the fortune of being with her Wednesday afternoon, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. And the topic that she's going to be sharing is the love that unites us. So we'll also be celebrating the festival of Raksha Bandhan with her. So you can come and invite all your friends and family as well. Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll now close with meditation. Stand back and observe myself. Who am I? I am so spiritual being of light. Everything that is around. Now, I'm sense of I withdraw from all my senses. I fall up for you, finding good focus. I soul. Travel beyond this body, beyond this world. come to a world of gold and red light. Just over my side. World of silence. Here I can also feel the presence of God, my Father. Wish, peace. As I come into His presence, oh, God, the body's body, body's body, all these bodies. So free, so peaceful.
Every second carries a gift inside, a quiet power that helps you rise. This moment shines, let your heart shine too. Feel your calm light grow in
let your presence guide the way. Your warm words heal, your calm eyes show a light that helps all people grow. When things feel heavy, pause inside, feel yourself open, clear and wide. Rest for a moment like an open sky, light and free, peaceful and high. This moment shines, let your heart shine too. Feel your calm light grow in all you think and do.
Om Shanti. Thank you everyone for being with us this evening. Have a wonderful evening.